Welcome to another Shock and Awe Toy Reviews Useless Articulation, where we sit around a table and talk about some useless stuff.
While playing with stuff in the foreground.
Yes, I'm going to be playing with Transformers while you guys mainly do most of the talking, because I forgot already what the topics were.
What topic would you like to start with?
Comics.
Comics. I love comics. Comic books.
You've tried to do some comic reviews.
I have failed.
And in them, you talk about reigniting the something.
So the start, whenever they actually happen, the start of it is welcome to Shock and Awe Comic Reviews. One man's journey to reignite and share his love of comics.
There it is.
Okay.
And then I would review comics, doing Shock and Awe things. This is shockingly awesome. This is awfully awful.
So the other piece of this is you've made comments to us privately about how you have never read more but bought less comics.
That is true.
And I was curious about both of those things.
All right. You want the long version? Of course you do. So, in the summer of 1984, basically I have figured out I was in a comic book store at least once a week from the fall of 1986 to the summer of 2002.
Okay.
And bought comics all the time, read comics all the time. I had read every comic I had owned up through 1995 at that time. Like, I read them, I bought them, came home, read them, and I was so crazy. It didn't matter if I was reading them out of order. I just read them because I didn't care about numbers. As soon as I got another issue of Thor, I read it. Loved comics. I loved talking about comics. I loved reading comics. I loved looking over the art. I wanted to draw comics, buy comics. My dream was to have a comic book store with my best friend Jeff. But then I got hired by my comic book store, and
That dream went away.
that dream didn't go away, but Jeff went away. Jeff left comics.
Mm-hmm.
But I still love comics, and then my college roommate loved my comics, so he got into comics for a while. But in the summer of 2002, I went on a 2-week vacation with my girlfriend, and I didn't go to a comic store. All I brought with me was a trade paperback of Walt Simonson's The Ballad of Beta Ray Bill. And I read that like 3 times because I don't give a fuck about holes in the ground of Grand Canyon. And they were so embarrassed by me. And, like, what is wrong with you? Look at all the scenic stuff. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Just anyway. And what I discovered in those 2 weeks is that I didn't miss comics at all. Like, I had my one trade. I read it just to pass the time as we were driving through, from Illinois to Arizona and back. Because you can only have so many conversations in a car with your girlfriend's mom and brother and sister.
Yep, sure enough.
Excuse the squeaky chair. But there was at no point where I was like, oh man, do they have a comic store here?
Let's see.
Should I go to a because everybody else I know who works in comics, when they go on vacation, they stop at other comic stores just to see what they have, maybe pick stuff up, find things. Yeah, they all love going to other comic stores.
My wife, when we travel, asks if we're like passing by, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, I never for me. So anyway, right around that time period was when I was reading the least amount of comics.
Okay.
Because A, girlfriend, B, we were just coming out of the collapse of comics, and there weren't that many good comics. Like, there was Garth Ennis, Preacher, and The Punisher, that era. And I wasn't reading as much. And then the Ultimates line started, and Brian Michael Bendis became a Marvel guy, and I just I fell back in, and I loved reading comics, and it was a glorious time. But what I discovered when I went on my honeymoon in 2006, again, I didn't go to a comic store. We did, but it wasn't because I wanted to. We were at a mall because we were in between doing things, like we went to the zoo and we stopped at a mall on the way back to our hotel before we went out on a cruise or something. And there just happened to be a comic store there, so we walked through and I'm like, why am I here? I don't care. But I was still at that time reading a ton of comics. And then I continued reading a ton of comics, and then a couple things happened. I made a joke about I can't even remember now. It's the anniversary, like literally 6 years ago. I made a joke about Comicsgate. Not a joke about Comicsgate, but I mentioned them. I made a joke in an article for the comic book store about people who had the same names. One was a comic book person, one was a club member. And I got in huge trouble with DC Comics and Warner Brothers. And they wanted my head on a pike. And we were forced to do an official apology and all this stuff, and they were... So at that point, I'm like, wow, I really hate DC Comics, and I stopped reading DC Comics. Just cold turkey, and it was super easy, because New 52 and Rebirth were not great. And so... And they had killed Vertigo and all this, so I was just like, stopped reading DC. And then the shutdown happened, and COVID happened, and I lost my job for that month. And you know what I didn't do during that month?
Read comics.
Was touch a comic. I played with toys, I played video games, I played with my kids. And it was amazing. Like, everyone's talking like I have nothing to do, and I like did everything but the thing that I had been in love with for the previous whatever it is.
Sure.
And the other thing that happened at the end of that time period was our good buddy, the Golden Child, Steve, Golden Boy.
Yeah.
Went down to 1 day a week. So I lost my reading buddy and my talk comics buddy on Wednesdays. Because we would both look at the new comics on Tuesdays, talk about the new comics on Tuesdays, read the new comics Tuesday night, talk about them with customers all day Wednesday. And then Steve went away. And so I stopped caring about comics again, because my buddy wasn't there, and it was like I could talk to customers, but like can't talk to customers.
Yeah.
Because
is it a lot of the same conversation with customers?
It is a lot of the same.
Like X-Men, Spider-Man.
It's X-Men, Spider-Man. It's did you hear Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom? Or have you read the reboot of X-Men? Like, no, they do X-Men stuff. I flipped through it. And so, yeah, like so when I noticed after COVID and Steve had left, I noticed like I wasn't reading the comics I was buying. Now, one thing I have told everybody, to the chagrin of people who want me to make money for them, if you're not reading your comics, don't buy them.
Yeah.
Like, if you haven't read Spawn in the 300 issues, maybe stop buying Spawn. Try something else, but like, if you're not excited to read that comic when you get it, why are you buying?
Yeah.
And so at that point in early 2021, 2022, whenever it was, I cut my list from like 50 titles to like 10. And so I buy my 10 books. Now it's back up to like 15 because of miniseries and stuff.
Sure.
But I still read comics. I just don't buy them for myself. I don't collect them anymore. Because I like to, like, I read Garamans. but I'm never going to reread comics. I never reread comics in the first place,
Yeah.
with very few exceptions. Today's story about Thor and the mountains notwithstanding. But grommets is not, while it is artistically phenomenal and looks great and is super fun, like, that's not my art style that I like go pour over the details. I'm like, oh, let's talk about...
I would reread that in like 10 years. Because it should be, it's what, like 7-issue series?
7-inch series.
I could do that in a weekend.
And it's complete.
Yeah.
It's a complete story, supposedly.
Yeah.
So, but I love Sacrificers, so I'm reading Sacrificers, and I'm still buying Sacrificers. I cannot stop buying Thor. I hate Thor right now. Thor's been terrible, but I stopped buying Thor one time, and I lasted 2 months. And then I went, why did I stop buying Thor? I love Thor. And it got good again. And Thor has been so bad for like 6 issues, 7 issues.
Is that it?
Bad. It was...
Okay.
Donny Cates, well, the lack of Donny Cates with all his awfulness ruined his run, which was kind of up and down to begin with.
It was.
And then this run has just been like, oh, and just, I can't, yeah.
I think they made the wrong figure from Kate's run.
Oh, they 100% made the wrong figure.
But they had the mold, so...
They made 2 wrong figures from Cates. Yeah, just, anyway.
The other guy,
Yeah.
new sculpt.
Hey, what? Bare arm Thor who looks awesome? No. Here's a black version of the one you already got that was the electrified version. What are you doing? So yeah, I am reading more and more comics because they're good. There are tons of great comics. And I've just been like, I want to read comics. I miss reading comics. I don't enjoy selling comics.
Doesn't seem like it.
I don't enjoy the business of comic books anymore. Not that I ever really did, but like it is just so insanely hard to... There's nothing easy anymore. There's 8 billion companies I have to order from. There's 8 billion invoices. And
A dozen variants for every issue.
variants, and is this guy gonna want this variant, or is this guy gonna like, oh yeah, I want this book, and then out of the blue, no, I wanted cover B, and I'm like, I didn't order cover B, and I feel like poop because I didn't get it for you, and then 3 weeks later I have to go, so this came out a few weeks ago, and I feel awful watching that video. I'm like, I'm not good at my job. Spoilers. So basically anytime I take a break from working, the last thing I want to do is deal with comics or think about comics.
I've quit reading comics several times, and the first time, because I got into them in grade school, there was a friend of mine who had, I think it was the Who's Who, or...
Who's Who in the DC Universe?
No, it was the Marvel version. Encyclopedia?
Marvel Universe? The official handbook of the Marvel Universe?
Yes. I had that, and I'm like, I just want to make my own encyclopedia of characters. Like, that was my... I'm like, I just want to invent a bunch of characters. I don't even care about the storytelling aspect. But then he had some random stuff like X-Men and the Micronauts, and I'm like, this is pretty cool.
That was so good.
And so I was hooked up through the end of high school-ish. I started working and started going to college and moving out, and I was doing all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't care anymore. I quit for a few years, came back, and I've been reviewing off and on as much as I've been not buying off and on for like 20-ish years. But like, I quit because I'm broke, I'm quit because I have nowhere to live, I quit just because I don't enjoy it anymore. Like, this current period, since New 52, is the longest I've been reading, I think, straight.
Yeah. I can't believe New 52 is what brought me back.
Here's the thing about that. So,
Like,
I've
target
never...
demographic? Hello?
Because of one aspect, right? I have never been a DC guy. I was always Marvel growing up. But I was in this period of like not enjoying what Marvel was doing, and I wasn't really... I can't remember what I was reading pre-New 52, and I checked out because of Kenneth Rocafort. Reign of Doomsday, which was terrible, but had great art. This was just before
Yeah.
Reign of Doomsday.
Reign of Doomsday.
Which is always my go-to whenever someone complains about New 52, and I'm like, it wasn't good beforehand either. My thing was, if DC is trying, and this was, in my opinion, them trying to, like, refresh themselves, I'm like, I'll give them a shot. And so I bought everything that wasn't Rob Liefeld.
Is that 48 books?
Probably. And I made it like 2 issues maybe into most of them before I seriously cut back. And then I stuck around for some, but yeah, I figured if DC was going to try, I would try as well. And at the time I had enough money and I could afford it. And
Are you all in?
I'm gonna try the Absolute stuff. I'm gonna try like 2 or 3 all-in books. So, no, I'm not all in. I'm dipping a toe. Depending on creators.
Sure. I'm super excited about Absolute Batman for all the wrong reasons. I love Nick Dragotta,
Dragotta's great.
and that is the only reason I'm in. Like, Scott Snyder's Batman, right? It's Scott Snyder?
Scott Snyder.
You didn't like?
I just admitted that I've never read Scott Snyder's Batman.
Really?
Last week?
None of it, no.
I've read like issue 1. What? Like, I don't get it. I tried to read Court of Owls, did not care. I tried to read Death of the Family, or Death in the Death of the
That
Family,
was the family.
because of the mask, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Joker looks awesome, but I don't. This is dumb.
Oh, wow.
And then it just kept going and going. I'm like, Year Zero is like 14 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then All Star Batman, I just looked at because it was John Romita Jr. drawing Batman. So yeah, I don't. Scott Snyder is like the absolute wrong guy to get me to read Batman as a writer.
He's very hit or miss for me as well.
And like, but that stupid Batman, and then San Diego ruined it a little bit because they showed like, here's the design things, and like they're like, Batman's 6'4". I'm like, that guy's 6'4", so Wonder Woman's like 2 foot tall. What the fuck?
I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah,
I'll try it.
Nick Dragotta, you got me. And I can already see, like, in the back of my brain going, wait, you're the East to West guy. Saga before Saga. Like, can't even get 6 issues out. Gotta have a break. Have another break. Have another... There's no way he's getting more than 6 issues of Absolute Batman out.
Probably not.
Super excited about Wesley Craig drawing Darkseid. Wesley Craig, is that...
Is that what's happening?
Then Wes Craig.
Yeah.
Is that?
Deadly Class guy,
Yeah,
Deadly
yeah.
guy is drawing the 60-page launch of the Absolute.
I must have missed that. That's awesome.
All DC books are going to wrap up. There's a 60-page Darkseid special that is drawn by Wes Craig, and Darkseid is the one who either causes the Absolute Universe or brings the Absolute Universe to fight or something.
Oh, I'm in.
So it's...
In for Darkseid.
In for Darkseid, in for Multiverse. You got
Yeah.
And Wes
But-
Craig on top of it.
He's drawing. And then they fucked up even more, DC. You got me back in, you got me excited, and then you fucked up because you're like, hey, Ram V, your guy, your rare flavors and all
Lively Death is better, but yeah.
great. They're doing New Gods, I'm in. And then you go, oh, by the way, it's the New 52 Orion with everyone else's old costumes. I'm like, what are you doing?
Huh.
Interesting.
The cover art or promo art is everyone looks right, and then it's Jacket Orion. I'm like, God damn it! Like, I didn't mind the change, but like, pick a lane.
You gonna buy it anyway?
He'll read it.
I'll read it. I'll read
Yeah.
it. I will. I will buy Absolute Batman.
And then you're gonna write a review in the newsletter.
That's right. And yeah, like the
Okay.
first DC book I have bought in forever is DC Dark Knights of Steel All One Two.
That's a good book.
It is. Or no, I take that back. That's the second book, DC book I bought in forever because I bought.
You bought Flash. You were buying
You were
Flash.
reading
I
Flash.
was reading Flash.
Yeah.
I bought Gotham, the new Gotham by Gaslight.
Okay.
Oh, right.
I read Flash until
Issue 5. I believe.
no, I made it 1 or 2 issues into the new artist
Oh.
because when I found out the twist, I was like, oh man, you got me, Jeff Johns, even though it was Cy Spurrier.
Yeah.
You got me. How did I not see that coming from a mile away? And then they switched to the new artists because Deodato Jr. apparently couldn't draw or wasn't allowed to, and I was just like, I can't handle Cy Spurrier awesomeness with subpar artwork. Sorry, dude, whose name I don't remember. Not that you're gonna watch this or anyone's watching this. This money would be on the floor. Who cares? I love comics.
Well, we'll end it there with I love comics. We hope you love comics too.
I buy all my comics at Graham Crackers Comics.
I don't. Mostly. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below, and until next time.